Hey guys, here is another video for a 1 hour Pilates practice. We're just going to be using our bodies today once again, so we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to begin lying on our back. Knees bent and feet grounded once you've arrived. And just taking that time brief to line the knees and feet up with your hip bones, which reside in the front of your body. Nice narrow stance. Stretching the arms down, angling them slightly out, palms to sky. Lightly press the backs of your shoulders to the ground, opening up your chest, and then reaching the crown of your head to the back of your mat, lengthening out your cervical spine. Let the eyes softly close in space, bringing the focus inward. I'm going to start to connect mind and body through Pilates breathing. We'll begin by taking an inhale through the nose. Softly purse your lips and spill the breath out. Again, breathing in big, make sure to fill all the way up. Steady stream of air as you exhale, but make sure now you empty out completely down to the bottom. You then want to feel your breath in pull from the pit of your belly, drawing into the ribs, filling up to the chest. When you breathe out, you're emptying from the top of your chest then, pressing down through your ribs and then squeezing it through lower belly. Ribs expand wide as the lungs fill up. And I want you to take those ribs and actively nick them back to midline. You want to keep an ease with your inhale, but now creating a powerful, forceful exhale. Your breath out now audible and strong. As you breathe in with ease, the abdominal muscles disengage and relax. But breathing out with power, those muscles begin to activate, contract your core. Sometimes it's nice to place one hand on the stomach to really kind of feel the transition between the two. I'd like you to stay here for 4 more cycles of breath. Try to pull your abs in more deeply each time you're breathing out. Stay focused and clear-minded. Noticing movement and sensation. Let's do 2 more here. One last time, breath in big. As you breathe out, gently open your eyes. If you had a hand on your belly like me, let's go ahead and stretch that arm back alongside you. Next, on our inhale, I want to turn the head to slowly look over the right shoulder, starting off with some rotational movement for cervical spine. Breathing out, the head then slowly swivels to look over the left shoulder. Again, breathing in, head slowly swivels to the right side. And then exhaling, turning slow to look over the left shoulder. One more in each direction. Breathing in, making sure that you move your head with the tempo of your breath, so you're not rushing to get to your end points. Breathing out, head turning to the left side. And then after completion, just bringing your head back to a centered position. Once your head is centered, we're next going to interlace the fingers, take the hands right to the back of the head, and then draw the arms up so the elbows point to the sky. Arms should closely frame your head, and then that way your head can really rest heavy in your hands. We'll take a breath in. Breathing out, I want you to lift the back of your head off of the floor, and I want you to press your chin right down into your chest. This is going to help stretch the back of your neck and let it travel through the shoulder blades. Take the head back to the ground again, breathing in. Again. Lowering the head back to the ground again, inhaling. One more time here. Head heavy, lift it off floor, press the chin into the chest. And then go ahead and lower your head back to the ground. Once the head has lowered, I want you to keep your hands there at the back of the head. Just open now your arms really wide. We're going to maintain this fist distance between our chin and chest now for the second movement. So instead of pressing your chin down, just maintaining its neutrality. Take a breath in. Now I want you to firm up your belly and lift up your head, your neck, and a little bit of the shoulders here. Look down towards navel, but again, keep that spacing between. Lower to the floor again, breathing in. So now we're not using our arms for support. We're using our core. Exhale, belly firms. Head and shoulders lift. Lower to the ground again, breathing in. We're going to take 4 more of these just to fire up our powerhouse. Feel the belly button pull down towards the spine. As you lift up, come down, breathing in. 3 more. Breathing in, returning down. 2 more times. Good. Lowering, inhaling 1 last time here. Exhale, head, neck, shoulders peel up, arms wide. Good. Lower back to the ground again on an inhale. Breathing out, release your hands, lift your arms high to the sky, stacking your arms above your shoulders with the palms turned in. Make sure that the hands are shoulder width apart. Shoulder mobility is next. Breathing in, I want the backs of your shoulders to lift away from the ground and the fingertips to reach high to the sky. Exhaling those shoulders, plug back down. Again, shrug up when you inhale. Plug down when you exhale. 2 more of these. When we lift the shoulders off, it starts to close our chest a little bit. The arms tend to narrow, but then when you plug down, that helps to open the chest. Last time here, reach high to the sky on an inhale. And then anchor down as you exhale. I want you to keep those shoulders really rooted down into their sockets. When you take your next breath in, I want both of your arms to start to reach to the back of your mat. And as the arms reach back, seal the ribs in nice and tight to your body. As you're exhaling, circle the arms out and then pull them in back beside you again. Fingertips stretching down to the heels. Again, reach up and overhead, breathing in. Make sure your spine stays imprinted to the floor. And then exhaling, the arms circle through. Again, breathing in, arms reach back. This time though, as you exhale, use your core strength. As the arms circle, I want you to lift up your head, neck, and shoulders. And now the arms are going to land right at a hovered space above the floor. Lower the head and shoulders down, reach the arms up and back, breathing in. Squeeze into belly. Fill yourself up, circle arms through. Let's do 2 more of these. Lowering, arms up and back. Arms stiff like a board. Come down, breathing in. Exhale, circle it through. Let's stay lifted here. Keep your breath steady. I want you to pulse those arms downward, moving through the shoulders. Head stays steady, breath stays big. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it all come down nice and slow. Wonderful. We're going to keep our arms really close into our body. I want you to press them actively to the ground. Take a breath in. I want you to use your core strength now. As you exhale, tighten up the core, lift up your feet, and then draw the knees slowly to the chest. From here, place your hands on your knees for support and using them as guidance for movement. Let's circle our legs. Your legs move together in the same direction. This is going to help to roll out and massage out your lower back just above the tailbone. Let's then take a moment to pause, reverse direction, big breaths in and steady breaths out. Yeah, and then let's start to bring the legs back into stillness. I want you next to just push the legs forward a bit so your tailbone drops to the floor and your knees stack right above your hips. And then afterwards, lifting your ankles up so they level off with your knees. Tabletop position, that's a nice way to get into it structurally. Arms down alongside you, close in, stretched out, pressed down. You're going to keep the same angle of your legs. They're in 90 degrees. That's never going to change. So the movement stems from your hip joints. We're using our abdominal strength. Here we go. Inhale, your right leg begins to lower downward. Find a level of lowering that you can maintain and not let the hip flexors take over. Use your abs on the exhale to pull that right leg back to starting position. Then your left side is going to lower downward. Perhaps you get to the point where your heel or your toes can lightly tap the ground, and then firm up that belly. Slowly pull the leg back up. Toe taps. Inhale, right leg comes down. So the name of the exercise is that. Remember that that's not a requirement for the movement. You're working with what your body can handle. Left leg coming down, breathing in. Big breath out to pull up. Let's do 2 more to each side. Good, almost there. So notice how I'm eliminating any form of momentum. I'm not dropping my leg down quickly, nor am I swinging it back up. I'm really focusing on muscle control and support. Last one here, left side coming down, breathing in. Forceful exhale to bring the leg back to tabletop. From there, I want the knees to pull back into the body, the hands back onto the knees. I next want us to work on massaging out those hip flexors and working on the mobility of the hip joints. Breathing in now, use your hands. I want you to separate your legs, straddle them out wide. And then as you exhale, circle your legs around and bring them back in together again. Always keep your hands in contact with your knees. We're going to separate on an inhale. We're going to circle through on the exhale. Let's go ahead and take 4 more of these. Very brief pause at the top of your inhale to feel the openness within your hips before continuing on, breathing out. Again, opening, wide, circling through. We'll do 2 more here. Breath in, breath out. Last time here. Inhale, wide, straddle, circle around, reconnect. And once the legs join back together again, let's return to tabletop. So hands just above the knees to push the legs forward. You're going to feel your tailbone drop. Then you're going to elevate your ankles lined with your knees. It's going to be helpful here to hug your legs together so that the legs can work instead 1 unit rather than 2 separate pieces. Before we begin our next movement, this is going to be very small and very subtle. So the backs of your hips, your SI joints, the 2 nubs in the back body, I want them to stay anchored, and I don't ever want them to rock off, lift off, or seesaw. So that's going to require a lot of ab strength to control the pelvis, to stabilize the pelvis. Also, because of that, the movement itself, very tiny. Arms are going to be down close beside you. If you ever find you want more support, take the arms out to T. If you're ever finding you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can have the arms lifted. If arms are lifted though, you have to be mindful that they do not shift. This is for the waistline or obliques. Let's inhale to shift your legs just slightly over to the right. So keep the back of your left hip planted down and then cinch into the waist to bring the legs back to their centered position. Now your legs are going to shift slightly to the left, but make sure the back of your right hip stays rooted. And then waistline control to pull the legs back up again. Back to the right side on an inhale. Then again, the left side. Let's do 2 more to each side. You can always readjust the positioning of your body. If you started with arms lifted, but it feels like it had become a little bit too much, take your arms to the floor, or vice versa. Maybe start with arms grounded and it felt like it wasn't enough, right? 1 more time to each side. Last one here to the left. Pull to center. After you've returned to center, bring the right knee to your body, both hands at the knee. Left leg stretches all the way down to the floor, flex the foot, anchor the leg. Use both of your hands here to hug your right leg in closer to your body and actively pull the shoulders down and away from your ears. I want you to feel the energy of your sit bone reaching up to the front of your mat. This is all to help stretch your glute and lower back on the right hand side. As you keep the leg hugged in, I want you to circle your right foot to roll out and warm up the ankle. Reverse direction. But then we'll come back into stillness. Let's go ahead and open the right arm out to its side, plug the shoulder into the floor. Use your left hand and as many breaths as you need to start to gently cross the leg over the body. As you look over your right shoulder, ease into a spinal twist. We never, never, never want to rush to get here. This happens in increments and our body really needs to acclimate into rotation. So breathing is going to guide you. Every exhale, allow your body to settle more deeply into this twist. Let your midsection expand, breathing in. Contract, breathing out. 3 more cycles of breath. One more here, breath in big. Activate your abs as you breathe out to slowly unravel the body. Return back to center and then let your right leg release, stretch it all the way down to meet your left. Then the left leg pulls in with both hands on the knee. Hug the leg in. Drop the shoulders down, pull them away from your ears. And again, the energy of your sits bone stretching down to the front of your mat. Breathe deep into the space. Then we begin to circle the foot, roll out, warm up the ankle. Reverse direction. Wonderful. Foot then will come into stillness. The left arm opens out to its side, shoulder presses down. You're using your right hand to help guide that leg slowly across body. You look over the left shoulder, rotation. So for me, I kind of arrive at one space, and then once arriving here, then I focus on really using my breath to get me more deeply into form. So big inhale to create a little bit more space within your body. Let the breath push out. A little bit more relaxed, a little bit more heavy, and really use your right hand to guide this. 3 more times. Couple more. One last time, breath big. Tighten the belly, unravel the body, return back to center. Once you've reached center again, place both hands back onto your right knee. Tighten up your core here and then lift your right leg off the floor and then keep it suspended in air. Closer to the ground is going to have more heat. Higher to the sky is going to have more ease. So just find the level that you would like. Toes actively pointed. Your head can stay grounded for this next move, or at any point in time you want more heat, lift up the head and shoulders, let the elbows sweep out, let the shoulders drop in. Single leg stretch. On an inhale, I want you to switch out your legs, right leg in, left leg long. And then exhale to switch again. We're going to stay with one breath, one movement here. You want to feel the energy of your legs really pulling in opposite ways. One leg, of course, stretching out long, reach through those toes. The other leg is getting hugged in by the hands. We're using our core strength to stabilize our upper body. If your head is lifted, but you start to feel strain in your neck, please take the head to the floor. It's going to release that tension. It's also going to bring the focus back to the powerhouse. 3 more cycles. Breathing in, breathing out. Again, in, out. 1 more cycle. Breath in, breath out. Whichever leg is in, keep it there. Drop the other one in to meet it, and rest and recover. So what we're just doing here, of course, is we're stretching, we're warming up, but I'm also throwing in some core exercises, of course, to fire up our center. Okay. I want us to work next on, excuse me, stretching out the outer hips and the glutes. So I'll bring both feet back to the ground. Let's take the right ankle, cross it over the left knee, and then push the right leg out. Pushing it away from your body opens up the hip, which will create a little bit more depth for your stretch. And then you can come into any variation of this figure 4 that works best for you. Just be mindful if you're holding up your left leg, your shoulders didn't tense up to your ears. If they had, if you slide your hands further down by the hip, that can drop the shoulders in. Also make sure if your left leg is up, your tailbone didn't peel up. You want to keep your tailbone heavily anchored. I want you to take a nice breath into that right side. When you're breathing out, I want you to lean and shift over to the left a little bit. So physically pulling the legs over just a tad. And then notice how that stretch has changed on the right side. Return to center as you breathe in. Again, breathing out, a slow lean over to the left. That stretch tends to wrap around to the glute. Come back to center, breathing in. Let's do a couple more. Exhaling, take your time to get there. We don't have to rush. We want to feel it as it travels through. Center, breathing in. Once more here, exhaling over to the left side. I want you to hold this space here, but not the breath. 3 cycles, inhaling, exhaling. Again. One last time, breath in big. As you breathe out, center your weight. From there, if you had lifted up your left leg, release it, ground the foot back down. And when the foot lowers, make sure the foot lands in line with its hip. We often tend to step right in the middle. So just want to make sure we keep our alignment. And then right leg still pushing out. Interlace your fingers, take your hands to the back of the head, and then lift up to the tips of your shoulder blades. Arms wide, take a breath in. Just this lifted part, I want you to rotate, twist to the right side. Back to the waistline, return to center, breathe in. Make sure the legs don't shift now, keep them sturdy as you rotate just that lifted part again to the right side. And then come back to center, breathing in. Let's do 4 more. Good, center, inhale. 3 more. Nice, strong exhale. Center, breathing in. 2 more times. Good, inhaling. 1 last time. Rotation to the right side. Return to center on an inhale. Lower the head down, release the hands, foot to the ground, exhale. Let's do that on the other side, starting with our stretch. Left ankle will cross, energy through the heel, pushing the leg out. Once the hip has opened up, any variation on this side that you'd like to take for the stretch. Soften shoulders. Sometimes we also are tempted to push our chin to the sky. So just make sure that chin is still just fist distance away from your chest. Let's ground that tailbone and let's breathe into the left hip now. And while you're exhaling, just lean slowly over to the right. Center, breathe in. Again, as you start leaning to the right, the sensation of stretch sometimes increases, a little bit fiery. Center, breathing in. We'll do a couple more here. Center, breathing in. This last one, I want you to lean to the right. I want you to hold that position, but not your breath. 3 more cycles. Inhaling. Exhaling. Again, we breathe in. We breathe out. 1 more time. Breath in big to the left hip. As you exhale, center your weight. If you had lifted up your right leg, ground the foot, line it with its hip, and then keep your left leg pushing out.
Hands at the back of the head, coming up to the tips of the shoulder blades, elbows wide. Inhale here. Now we rotate to our left side. Center, inhale. Try to keep your head level with lift as you rotate through. Making sure not to drop it down. Center, breathing in. Let's do 4 more here. We want to make sure we're leading with our abs and not our arms. Center. 3 more. Coming back through. 2 more times. Wring it out like a wet towel. Center, breathing in. 1 last time. Good. Center when you inhale. Release down. Hands come out. Foot comes down. Rest. Next, I want us to work on stretching out the backs of our legs. So we'll start with our right leg lifted up high to the sky. We're going to hold that leg from behind with our hands and then heavily anchor that tailbone to the floor. Then I want you to feel the back of your right leg pushing actively into the hands. So the arms straighten out completely in front of you. I want you to keep that leg pushing into the hands, but now I want you to use your hands to try to pull the leg in closer to the body. So there's going to be a lot of fight, right, between the back of your leg and your hands. Push and pull energy. What that does is it allows the leg to stay nice and long. And then what that does is it deepens your stretch. Big inhales. Steady exhales. To that hamstring. So we're going to add to this by flexing now the right foot, drive the heel up to the sky, added stretch into your calf, and then pointing your toes for the shin and the top of the foot to get stretched out. Heel to sky, and point the toes. Let's do that once again. Flexing of the foot, and then pointing through the toes. I want you then to relax the foot, release the stretch, bend your knee, foot to the floor. We'll switch sides, left leg lifting up, holding on, anchor the tailbone. Push out with the leg first, draw in with the leg last. So this is a step-by-step process to come into stretch. Oftentimes we want to just get there right away, but promise you, if you take it little by little, the benefit is much greater. Breathing into the hamstring to start, the back of the leg. We'll add now by flexing the foot, heel to sky. Wonderful, then point through the toes. Again, heel to sky. And point. Last time, flexing of the foot. Pointing through the toes. I want you to relax the foot, but keep your leg lifted. Release the hands, bring your arms beside you. Let's take the right leg, pull it up to meet your left. Now let's point all the toes here to lock the legs up stiff. I want you to hold the back of your right leg again with both hands. And now I want the left leg to begin to lower downward. Level of lowering is up to you. Closer to the ground will have more intensity. Your head again can stay grounded for this, or it could be lifted. This is a core exercise, our single straight leg. We're going to pulse the right leg in twice with breathing in. Switch the legs as you breathe out. Left leg will pulse in on an inhale. Switch out on the exhale. So we're going to continue here to stretch out the backs of the legs, but adding an element of core control. So our upper body should be much like a statue, no sliding, bouncing, or shifting, while the legs are in movement. Breath steady. Shoulders drop into their place. Good. We're going to continue this, but I want you to release your hands, take your hands behind your head, and then just remove the pulse of your legs, scissor and switch. If your head is grounded for this, you can still have your hands at the back of your head. I want you to focus mostly on the leg you're pulling into your body versus the leg that you're lowering away from the body. 5 more seconds here with this. 4, it's a hip strengthener, core strengthener. 3, 2, 1, and then let the legs meet together. Bring the knees in. If the head was up, take it down and recover, rest. So getting ourselves just nicely warmed up here, just checking the time to see what we have going on. Wonderful. Okay, let's come back into stillness. Let's keep the knees into the body. Let's have the hands on the knees. Head again can stay grounded or could be lifted for this next move, our double leg stretch. So extremities are going to have movement, head steady, torso steady. Breathing in, I want your legs to extend out in front of you while both of your arms reach back behind you. As you breathe out, circle the arms around, bring the knees back in and coil your body into a tight little ball. Reach out long on an inhale. Put it on the exhale. I want you to take a brief pause at the top of your breath in before continuing on with the breath out. Again, reach away, pause, breathe, hold. 4 more of those. Again. Two more times. Last one here. Let's recover, rest, and release. So we're just kind of kicking it up a little bit more of a notch here with our core. I want us to work next on single leg V-up. So taking the feet to the ground and extending the legs to the floor. I want your legs to be hugged in close together, toes actively pointed, and then just a subtle external rotation of the thighs so that the feet kind of splay out, but the heels still are touching in contact. Arms, both of them, reach to the back of your workspace. Notice if your ribs pop. That's a really common thing that happens. So make sure the ribs stay sealed and tight. So we're going to be moving our legs one at a time and alternating which leg we lift. The upper body lifts each time. You want to have equal lift of your upper body and the one leg, as the leg is going to be much easier to lift higher, but we want to focus on really using our abs to get our upper body to come off the ground as well. We'll start with the right leg. Take a breath in. Belly firms up, upper body comes off floor, right leg comes off floor, and the arms draw forward, reach towards the toes. Lower down, take a breath in. Left side now. Pulling up. And then coming back down. Toes are pointed so that legs are stiff like a board. Exhale. Inhale. Left side. Look towards the ceiling. Lower back down. 2 more each side. Right side. Lower. Left side. Coming back down. 1 more each. Good. Return to the mat. Last one here. Good. Lower down, arms overhead. All right, that's a little bit of a prep for our roll-up stacks. So really forcing our abs to control our lift and to also help us when we lower back down. So roll-ups, we want to change our legs a little bit. They're still hugged in close, but this time I want you to flex your feet, push through the heels. And then instead of an external rotation of your feet, I want the feet, the inner edges to be parallel. You're going to feel your inner thighs start to roll and hug into your midline. So legs are really important for this exercise. You want to make sure they stay active and strong throughout. Roll-ups. On a breath in, you begin to peel up off the ground, arms, head, and shoulders. Exhale when you need to pull your body all the way up tall to seated. Big hinge from the hips. Fold, fold, fold deep over legs. Let your head be the last thing that kind of hangs heavily through your arms. Come tall as you breathe in. When you exhale, you're tucking your tailbone under, you're scooping out your belly, and you're pushing out through those feet to control your body all the way back down to starting point. Let's do that again. Inhale, start it up. Force that breath out, stack up your spine, flat back hinge, but then start to melt as you come into fold. Coming up tall, breathing in, rolling back, looking straight on so that the chin doesn't press down into the chest. Couple more. Good, nice tall structure. And then a deep fold to stretch the entire backside of your body here. That's why your feet are flexed. Stacking upright, breathing in, or one of the reasons rather. Arms, feel the energy of them pull slightly behind your ears while coming down. One last here. Ooh, that was a tough one for me. Hinge, pull, stretch. Good. Let's stack tall, breathing in, but let's stay seated. As you breathe out, bend your elbows and cactus your arms at your sides. So that's going to mean your elbows are on the same level as your shoulders are, and your wrists directly stacked above your elbows. Fingers are spread. Draw between your shoulder blades, pull them down your back, and pull the belly in tight. Bending your knees a bit here if you're needing so that your hip flexors do not grip. Let's breathe in, get taller through the crown of the head. We're back to our waistline. Exhale, cinch it in and twist yourself to the right. We never want to lead with our arms because they do have a tendency to do just that. Center on an inhale. So imagine your arms were frozen in this space. And the only reason they're moving is because your torso has moved, not because they moved independently. Come back to center, breathe in. We're strengthening our upper back and our shoulders here just by holding the arms up in this space. Center. We want to make sure that our pelvis stays stable, so we never want our legs to move or shift. Center, breathing in. This is great spinal movement. Let's do one more to each. Rotational movement. Center on an inhale. One last time here, to the left side. Eyes work along the horizon. Come back to center on an inhale. Exhale, press your arms straight up to the sky. Breath in, bend the elbows and pull back down to that cactus position. Let's do that again. Shoulder muscles to press up. Upper back muscles to pull down. We'll do 4 more. Press and pull. So both directions should feel resistance. Press to the sky and like you're grabbing something and trying to pull it back down. Twice more. Press up, grab and pull down. One last time. Exhale to the sky. Breathe in to pull down to cactus. Now as you breathe out, keep the arms cactus and draw them out in front of you, squeezing in through the chest muscles or pectorals. Upper back strength to open up the arms. Squeeze into the chest. Exhale, pull arms forward. Open the arms, breathe in. 4 more of these. 4. Some upper body strengthening. Open on an inhale. 3 more. Resistance there. Open. Imagine there's an inflated ball in front of you. You want to squeeze air out of that ball. Good. Open wide, breathing in. One last time. Exhale, squeeze into it. Good. Open the arms when you inhale. Let's fold forward, exhale. Let the feet relax. The upper body hangs heavily. Let's breathe into the back side of our body here. Big inhale. Long exhale. Again, big breath in. Long breath out. Last time here, big inhale. As you breathe out, slowly start to stack yourself back up. Head is the last to arrive. Once you've sat up tall, we're next going to go ahead and swing the legs around so we can transition onto our stomach side. I want us to continue to strengthen the back side of our body, a little bit of upper, middle, lower back, and glute strengthening. So once you've made your way onto your back side, we'll start with the hands underneath the shoulders. You want your arms hugged in close.
You want your elbows pointing back to your feet, and you want your forearms lifted away from the ground.
Forehead to the floor to line your neck up with your spine.
We always are going to keep our hands grounded, but we're never going to use arm strength. We're focusing here with this next move on our upper back and our core.
Take a breath in. Breathing out, draw the shoulder blades in and down your back as your head and chest lift up as one solid piece. So never look forward, always look at the floor. Float back down, breathing in. Again.
Lower down, breathing in. So this is a fairly small lift.
Again, as you lift up, I want you to feel the energy of your hands drag back to your feet.
Not physically moving, just the idea of it happening. Float down, breathe in.
One more time here. Exhale, the head and the chest lift up. Shoulder blades pull in and down the back. Belly tries to pull away from the floor. And then go ahead and float back down to the floor. Extend the arms out in front of you.
So we're going to do the same exact movement we just did, but now we're offering a lift of our arms. With our arms outstretched in front of us, this is going to really target the middle back muscles. The lift is fairly challenging, so don't feel like the lift has to be big at all. To help support us, our pelvic triangle, the hip bones and the pubic bone, all 3 points actively pressed to the ground. It's protecting your lower back, it's stabilizing your pelvis, and it's going to help you with your lift. Let's begin. Take an inhale.
Now, as you breathe out, your arms, head and chest all lift up.
And you want to make sure your arms stay lined up with your ears.
Float back down, breathe in. Again. Float down, breathe in. A couple more here. Hips are down, arms, head and chest pull up. Come down to the ground, breathe in. Last one here. Stay lifted on an inhale. Bend your elbows, pull the elbows down towards your hips.
Create the letter W with your arms. Stretch the arms forward again, breathe in.
Again into W. Stretch out in front of you, breathing in. 2 more of these. When you pull the elbows down to your hips,
Make sure they're pointing towards the floor, not to the sky.
stretch the arms forward on an inhale. One last time, elbows draw down towards the ground and down towards the hips. Let's extend the arms forward again, breathe in. Cross the arms, lower arms, head and chest, breathing out. So now we're resting
resting our head on our arms like a pillow. We're going to travel down into the lower back and glutes next. We want to make sure before we begin that our feet are shoulder width distance apart. Our pelvic triangle once again is our stabilizer.
Let's press it down and take an inhale. I want you to squeeze your glutes and lift your legs off the ground.
Exhaling, point those toes and reach as far back with them that you can.
Lower the legs, breathing in. Again, breathe out, squeeze the glutes, lift the legs, point the toes, reach back. Float down on an inhale, and we'll do 4 more of these. Squeeze the buns before the lift begins.
So the muscles are already active. Lower the legs on an inhale. We never want to kick these up quick, so we peel and lift up slow. Lower down on an inhale.
We'll do 2 more here. Release gently, breathing in. One last time. Hold the legs up,
Flex your feet and externally rotate your thighs. You can try to clap your heels towards each other. They don't have to physically touch, just the idea of them coming inward to the middle.
3, 5, 4, legs up,
3, legs long, 2, good, 1. Rest those legs down. Once they have, bend at your knees, feet to the sky, windshield wiper your legs. You can crisscross them or you can work side to side. Either way, it's just a nice little release for the lower back. Good. Let's go ahead and stretch the legs behind us again and hug them together closely now. Slide your hands back underneath your shoulders very gently.
We're gonna come into a closed-legged child's pose. When we keep our legs close together, it allows us to stretch more deeply into our lower back. So allowing yourself to really settle into this space. Sometimes I like to kind of wiggle my sits bones back towards my heels. And then once settled, I want you to focus on breathing into your lower back space. Big breaths in, complete breaths out. Again, breathe into the lower back. Empty out. One last time here, breathe in. And then exhale out. From here, gently coming out of that child's pose, we're then going to transition to lie down on the left side of our body. We're going to work next into some outer hip strengthening. So, making your way onto your left side. Want to make sure you're in a long line and that you're stacked up. Want the right hand onto the hip and the elbow pointing up to the sky. Push out through both heels, flexed feet. So the left side of you that's lying on the ground is actually working, right? We're not just hanging out, we're pressing down. That's going to help keep you stabilized. Then we can lift that right leg up a bit just to hover, and then make sure that the leg is internally rotated. So I see this a lot of times when I cue to internally rotate. I see this a lot. If you saw my foot, just like point down. So we don't want to lead with our foot. That kind of tweaks the ankle and it brings it out of alignment. So when you internally rotate, you rotate in with the hip. So the entire leg from hip to foot stays stiff like a board and the whole thing rolls in, not just the foot, not just the ankle. So notice my ankle is lined up. This is not, this is not, this is, if you saw that visually with my right foot, okay? All right, and then we're gonna look straight on, right? We don't wanna be looking down, over, up, straight on, so the neck is lined up with your spine. Belly is pulled in, here we go. Breathing out, using hip strength, I want you to lift that leg up. Make sure those toes don't begin to angle towards the sky. Hover the leg. So that's why the lift is not going to be as big as you'd like it to, yeah? So as you breathe out, pull the leg up and push out through the heel. Hover down, breathing in. We'll take 4 more here. As you're lifting the leg, every time, tighten up that belly. Hover on an inhale. Even place your hand on your stomach like me so you can feel that. Good. Inhale, coming down to hover. 2 more times. Good. Hovering on a breath in. 1 last time, pull the leg up. And then we're going to lower the leg back to a hovered space. So once the leg has come back to hover, we're now going to point the toes. Instead of an internal rotation, now we're going to work on externally rotating. This is going to be a very small shift of movement. When we externally rotate, sometimes what I see is, I'm over exaggerating, but the hip pulling back. Yes, that will help the leg to open up more, but not because it's physically done that. It's only because you've realigned your body to do that. So hips will stay stacked, roll out, and then we work. So breathing in, I want you to slide the toes up the inside of your left leg, bend your knee, and try to point the knee up rather than it falling forward. So that's your hip strength, the muscle here, right behind you now, trying to lift that knee towards the sky. Then we're going to straighten the leg all the way up. So that's all on one inhale. I'm just kind of breaking this exercise down before we really get into it. We're going to flex the foot and we're going to lower that leg, push up through the heel to come back to starting position. Point the toes again. So inhale, slide, extend up. Exhale, flex foot, reach out through the foot as you come down. We're going to do 2 more in this direction. Toes point, inhale, flex foot, exhale. Control, control, control. 1 last time, toes are pointed. Your upper body should not be moving here. Everything stays sturdy. It's just movement of that right leg, flex foot, bring the leg back to hover. Now we're just going to reverse the direction. Keep the leg straight as you breathe in, pull the leg up,
Exhale, bend your knee, point your toes, and then slide all the way back down. Flex the foot again when you arrive. Breathing in, pull leg up. Breath out, bend knee, point toes, slide down. Make sure your leg is still externally rotated. 2 more, flex foot, breathe in, come up. Exhale. Out, last time, inhale, draw to the sky. Bend your knee, point your toes. Exhale, slide out. Once you have, roll the leg back in, reflex the foot, and we'll pulse that leg upward, upward. So this micro movement here, never actually dropping at all. So you'll kind of pump up and land at that starting point. So never dropping, dropping, dropping. 5, breathe it out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let that leg come down nice and gently. Once it's lowered, bend your knee to the floor in front of you and just take a light tap out of that hip, right? We build up a fair amount of lactic acid in this space, so it's just a nice way to kind of break all of that up. So strengthening the outer hip. I want us to transition next to our bottom leg to engage the inner thigh, our adductors. So taking that right foot now, stepping it behind the left leg, and then angling the left leg a little bit more in front. Hand back to hip, elbow back to sky. Lift up that left leg, hovering it, right? Pushing out through the heel, and now we externally rotate here. Inner thigh, lower abs, let's begin. Breathing out, leg pulls up. Hover down on an inhale. So when your leg is lifting, make sure your elbow does not fall back. Pull up on the exhale. It requires a fair amount of effort and the lift is really small. 4 more. 4. Come down, breathing in. 3 more. 2 more. Last time here, pull the leg up and hold it in space. As you breathe in next, I want you to bend the knee. I want you to draw the knee in towards your chest. And then as you breathe out, push the leg away, reach up towards the sky. So it's reaching out at a diagonal. Bring the leg in on an inhale. Drive away on the exhale. 4 more of these. In. Press out. 3 more. In. Push it away. Good. 2 more times. In. Pressing out. Once again, draw the leg in, drive out, drive up, hold there, and then we're going to draw some circles. So imagine you had a marker on your heel. We're drawing with that marker, keeping the leg stiff and tight. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Reverse direction. Inhale, exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then gently let the leg come down, rest. Wonderful. We're going to do all of this on the other side. So however it's easiest for you, we're going to swap out, transition, and come down onto our right side. Lined up nice, stacked up nice, hand to hip, elbow to sky. Push out through those heels. Now feel the entire right side of you. Anchor down, left leg lifted, hovered, internal rotation from the hip. Look straight on. Pull the belly in. Here we go again. Breathing out, we want to lift the leg up through the hip. We want to hover down with resistance. Again, pull the leg up, push through the heel, and then hover the leg down. 4 more. Every time the leg is lifting, remember, 4 is tightening, belly. Hover down. 3 more. Good, hover. 2 more times, we lift. Good, hovering it down. 1 last time. Taking the leg to hover, once it's there, point the toes. Externally rotate the thigh without your elbow or your pelvis tilting back. And we move through. Breathing in, knee bends, toes slide up, and we try to point that knee to the sky. Then the leg lifts straight up. Exhale, flex your foot, slowly take the leg down to hover, pointing toes. Inhale, flex the foot, exhale. Twice more here, pointing toes, slide, lift,
lower. One last time, pointing toes, bend, lift, come down with a flexed foot. Once you've landed at hover, we'll reverse direction. Pull the leg straight up as you breathe in now with a flex in your foot. Bend your knee, point your toes, and then exhale, slide down. Flex your foot. Inhale, point, bend, exhale. 2 more of these. Last time, lift, bend, point, slide out. Once there, roll the leg back in, reflex the foot. So pulsing again, lifting but never dropping below your starting point. Pulse, 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 pulse. 5, pumping up. 4, everything else steady. Good. 2, 1, and then slowly take that leg down. Once it has lowered, bend your knee to the floor. Take a brief tap out of the hip. Yeah, now we get to do our bottom leg next, focusing, of course, inner thigh now and the lower abdominal kind of pelvic floor region. Step the left foot behind your right leg. Angle that right leg a little bit more out in front. Flexed foot, hovered leg, hand to hip, elbow to sky. Here we go. Breathing out, pull the belly in tight. Lift up the leg. Come down as you breathe in. Again. Good. Hover. We'll do 4 more here. 4. Hover. So notice the isolation and control. My right leg has movement, but everything else really like a statue. 2 more. Last time. Hold it here in space. Breathing in, bend the knee, pull it towards your body. Exhale, press out towards the sky. Again, inhale in. Exhale out. 4 more. 4. Push it out. 3 more. In. Press. Go 2 more times. Draw it in. Drive out. Last one, bring the knee in. Push out, push up on the exhale. Hold here, stiff, strong circles next. Take your time. These don't have to be quick, and they certainly don't have to be big. Small, tight, controlled for better movement. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Reverse direction. Inhale, exhale. 5. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let that leg gently come all the way back down. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead next and stretch our hips and stretch our inner thighs. Let me just check the time. Perfecto. So let's go ahead, press up to seated. Our butterfly stretch, which gets all those areas plus the lower back all in one. So sitting upright, I'm going to take a side profile here. Soles of your feet will come together. The knees will open up. That starts to open the hips. That will begin to stretch a bit into the inner thighs. I want you to sit up really tall. I want you to hinge from the hips to start to lean forward towards your legs. We're not rounding our back. We're not pulling away from. We're long and we're stretched. From there, start to slowly melt and round, but still maintain length as you do. Head comes down partially, still look beyond your toes. Take some deep breaths in, down low into the hips and thighs. And then breathe out to settle more into space. Again, breathing into the hips and the inner thighs. Exhale, melting. Let's do 2 more. Last time here. Big breath in. As you breathe out, I want you to slowly pull your weight back, stack yourself up, and let the head be the last thing that arrives. Once it has, let's cross our legs now, ground our sits bones, sitting up tall, arms at the sides, palms to the sky. Breathing in, the arms reach out and up, and the hands will lightly touch at the top. Exhaling, the hands down through midline to heart center connection. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, up high to the sky, touch lightly above, and then exhale, bring within. Last time here. Reach up, breathe in, gather, hold. Exhale, hands to heart. You're going to keep them there. Lower the chin to the chest, closed eyes. Thanking yourself in this space for showing up to the mat, the practice, and the work, for being consistent, dedicated, and motivated to your health and well-being, and really taking the time to listen to, understand, respect, and keeping your body in moving order. So thank you guys so very much for tuning in to another 1 hour Pilates practice. There will always be more to come. Until then, enjoy this video. Thanks, guys. See you soon.